deepening your co-creative relationship with God. Here's the thing. Through the lens of feminine and masculine energy, which is the way I look at the world, and I'm sure that if you're here, you do this as well. The masculine, the universe, God, source, is the masculine in this relationship, right? God provides for you. The universe provides for you. The universe, God wants you to have your desires, wants you to have everything that you want, because it's your birthright, right? So in this relationship, in order to receive, to co-create, we're talking about a healthy, conscious relationship, right? Because I always say that there is the unhealthy way of doing something and the healthy way, right? This is why money responds to toxic patterns. That's why you don't really have to be precisely a conscious, healthy person in order to create money, right? Like that. But there is always a healthy way and the unhealthy way. So in this conscious relationship of you with God, in order to co-create more, here is something that this concept and this angle is going to help you like really refine and deepen this relationship. Because here's the thing, something that women forget a lot about being the feminine pole in the relationship of co-creation is that there is so much misinformation that says that the feminine just receives and leads back and receives and that's it. It doesn't work that way. This creates so much like victim mentality, like princess mentality, like, well, I'm the feminine, I'm supposed to just be here and receive, like, okay, God, I just want my desires to fall on my lap, right? But it's not how it works. Co-creation means that you have a part to do. It's not about working hard, it's not about proving that you're worthy, it's not about earning, it's about doing your part, right? So now what does that mean? When you are the feminine pole in this relationship, right? God is the masculine, wants to provide for you, but to receive that providership, the feminine has to say yes. The feminine has to consent. That is the job of the feminine. First of all, the feminine has to say yes. And we can see in nature how this is so clear. Like in our physical bodies. For example, like in order to co-create feminine and masculine energy, to co-create a baby, to make a baby, the feminine body has to open, right? The yoni has to open in order to receive the masculine, right? To receive the masculine plants the seed, provides with the seed, and then we are here. Humans are here, right? This is so clear in the human body, right? So that's how it works with the relationship of feminine and masculine energy, like the co-creation with God. God wants to give you, but you have to say yes. You have to consent, to give the consent, right? How do we say yes? How? Because one thing is to say, yeah, I want this kind of life, I want this kind of business, I want this kind of relationship, this is all I want. And another thing is to truly embody an energy where you are open to receive it. That is a different thing, right? So the way the feminine actually says yes, and we can say yes to our desires, is through our feminine devotion. We say yes with our energy, with how we embody ourselves, how we carry ourselves. What does that mean? Devotion, the feminine devotion, is really knowing where she stands in relationship with the masculine, knowing, honoring, respecting the masculine role. And this is where we fuck up, because in the modern world, women have learned to do everything by themselves, and even like since the feminism, you know, like women started saying like, I don't need no man, I'm gonna do everything by myself. So we also like tend to forget that you don't need no man, but because you're complete within yourself. But it is way easier when you do things with God, with a bigger force, with the creative force of this universe, right? So it's about coming into that remembrance that I'm not doing this alone. I get to co-create and do it with God. So my devotion, my feminine devotion of saying yes to my desires is really showing up. Showing up, for example, the universe or God is going, whatever you resonate with, I interchange these words, right? God is gonna tell you, here is your assignment. You get the download, you get the assignment, and then sometimes what we do is like, God, I know you're telling me this, but I'm too scared, so I'm just gonna do this other thing instead. and then find out that that was not it, that was the longest route to success, and then you're drained and you're exhausted, and then you're like, oh, I know I fucked up. And then that's a lesson. And sometimes we go through the same lesson so many times, right? Because we're not in that devotion. Devotion means obedience. Obedience to the assignment. Obedience to the download. It means to show up and say yes by taking the action. By saying yes, by saying, look, okay, I know this is scary, but this is my next step. This is what you're asking me to do. I'm gonna go for it because I trust you, because I trust your leadership, because I am trusting and surrendering to you, God, the universe. When we don't obey the download, when we say I'm gonna do this other thing instead, or when we procrastinate and put it in the back burner, what we're doing is we're trying to outsmart God. And if you're trying to outsmart God, it's like, it's like either you're thinking that you're doing this completely by yourself, you're not inviting God into the equation, and God is just like, I'll let you do it, you'll come back, or take the longest route if you want, right? And then we're always like in that cycle, like, okay. So your devotion, if you want to embody that yes sign energy, it means to submit to God's leadership. It means to obey. It means to say yes, like, okay, this is scary, but I'm gonna do it. That is what it means to be in devotion. In devotion, that's what it means to be in submission. That's why I always, I bring this analogy, and that's why I use this analogy of being like a sub in the bedroom, right? Like, I love these analogies of like what we do in the bedroom. The patterns in the bedroom can teach us a lot about what we can apply in our lives, and the other way around, right? So it's like a sub in the bedroom. She lets herself to be tied up, blindfolded, everything. She has to give her consent. We're talking about a conscious practice, right? She has to give consent. She has to say yes, and she has to surrender. She doesn't know how exactly it's gonna go. She's not gonna tell her dom, like, oh, I want you to do this, and this, like trying to control everything. It doesn't work that way. She has to surrender and submit and say yes, because she knows that is the best for her. She's gonna be given pleasure. Everything is done for her. Literally, the sub is the one that calls the shots. That is how a conscious dom sub, practice is done. So it's the same if we take those principles to this relationship of co-creation with God. God is your dom, right? He's gonna say, like, he's gonna tie you up, he's gonna blindfold you, you don't know what's gonna happen, and you have to surrender to the uncertainty. You have to surrender to not knowing what's gonna happen. You have to submit. That is you saying yes. That is you in your devotion. Doing your part. It's not about working hard, overworking, blah, blah, blah. It's about being in that energy, feminine energy of devotion, right? That is what I want you to really remember, like being in your feminine and just leaning back and receiving doesn't mean taking baths every day, all day, and just be there waiting for your desires to fall on your lap. You definitely get to have fun. You definitely get to relax and be in your feminine and your surrender, relaxed, soothed nervous system. Absolutely. Also, you get to do your part. That is the importance. That's so important, right? Like, it's when we're in relationship also, being in devotion is like honoring the masculine, honoring his boundaries, honoring his leadership, and you submit. That is your devotion. Now, always reminding you, submitting to the masculine, whether it's God or your partner, a man in the bedroom, does not mean self-abandonment, does not mean self-betrayal. A sacred sub, a good girl, which is just a playful way to call the devotional feminine, you know, I like playing with those terms. A sacred sub consents and says yes, opens up to receive pleasure, love, all the blessings that the masculine wants to provide for her, but she will never abandon. The sacred sub honors herself first. That's why she can be in such a deep devotion with a man and with God, because she first is in devotion and surrender to herself. She knows how to do that, right? And if this energy is like calling something in your body, it's like awakening something in your heart, in your body, in your yoni, you know, you're ready for this work. And this is the work that we do inside Good Girl. That's why the program is called Good Girl, because I want you to be a good girl in this master, big relationship of co-creation with God. And that way you can be so much like that. Is like, if you can master the feminine energy in co-creation with God, saying yes to your desires, you're going to be able to say yes to the providership of a man, the providership in the physical realm, right? But it begins with that bigger relationship with the masculine, which is the universe, God, source, right? This is all about learning to trust and surrender from a place of integrity, where you can hold your boundaries, where you can honor your truth, where you don't self-abandon. This is the reason why most women are afraid of these practices of like dom sub, or like they're even triggered by the word submission or the word obedience, because they think that submission is like something that is like forced upon you, but it's not. You call the shots, you say yes, you give your consent. We're talking about a conscious relationship and conscious dynamics, right? And when women are like so scared of submitting to the masculine, or men, it's because they don't trust themselves to honor truth, to always honor truth, to honor their boundaries, to honor and really speak up for themselves. But if you want to be this kind of like sacred sub with God in relationship, and learn to honor and to surrender to the masculine, which is what your feminine heart wants so freaking badly, come and join me inside Good Girl. That is what we are doing here. We tap into deep connection to truth, into how to honor the masculine and how to surrender while always honoring yourself. We interrupt patterns of self-betrayal, patterns of self-abandonment. We're going to interrupt those patterns, and we're going to learn to be in surrender and devotion from integrity. This is all about integrating the feminine energy, right? Like it's a really the deepest work that you're gonna do about feminine energy, to be honest. You know, like we're beyond the taking baths and dancing every day for feminine energy. We're going into like deep opening of the heart. We're going into releasing the walls that don't allow you to fully trust God, the universe, and men. That's what we're doing inside the girl. So, I hope this conversation, hello my love, You're gonna have to catch the replay because I'm on my way out. I love you so much. I hope you love this conversation. Let me know what you love, what resonated with you. And if you have any questions about Good Girl or the Deeper Please membership, message me. My inbox is open. Yeah, have a beautiful Wednesday. And remember, registrations for Good Girl close on Friday. So, 2 more days. I love you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye bye.